people, welcome back to another episode of Sweet Millionaire Formula, the podcast where we mix money goals with Hollywood drama and drop gems like it's hot. I'm your host, Courtney, and today we have 3 topics for you. Spill the wealth, stack your paper, and millionaire moves. So grab that drink or your pen, because guess what? We're about to get into it. There's no difference between going to jail and being a prisoner in jail and what they're doing to black men in jail versus what Donald Trump is trying to do to actual people in real life. I see no difference. The comparison is get them into a tiny, isolated space, and then once you have them down in tiny space, and you can mess with their mind, you can alter their food, you can mess with their health care, you can change the prediction of their financial income. You have this mixture of all of these weapons that allow him to put somebody in prison. Anytime you have America that's giving $20 million to Israel to low-key keep the Epstein files quiet, but we're going to get into that. Anytime you're giving, because there's no way that Jeffrey Epstein was a multi-billionaire with his own island in another continent and he just magically committed suicide in prison and they didn't open the prison gates and let that man go where he wanted to go. Y'all, we have to keep our eyes and ears open, not for the destruction that's happening right in front of us, but it surprises me that the only store that I go to with the missing children's posters it's never no children found. Walmart corporations, the Walmart Corporation who helped Donald Trump buy a presidency. There's never no children found. It's the only store where children are still being reported missing. And I don't mind that children are being reported missing, but when you have Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, you have these corporations who are all creating a network to sex traffic 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. Then we got to talk about that. How is it that Donald J. Trump and Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein were at a party with 14, 15-year-olds? And it's disgusting. It's tragic. I'm beyond fed up with allowing this government in this United States to be my end-all be-all goal. And so when we think about the aspects of building generational wealth and you putting yourself in position right now, it's because, like, say if you see something on fire from far away and you know you can get out in time, right? Wouldn't you get out in time? Because in my mind, and in my lifetime, I've never seen a commercial for me to travel to Tanzania. I've never in my lifetime seen a commercial or a celebration of Zimbabwe or Ghana. I've never seen these places. And it's like, in the last 30 days, I've discovered, not that I didn't know about, but because I'm in this rat race, because I'm so focused on, I got to get to my next dollar to pay my next bill, to get to my next dollar, thinking that that's the purpose of life, the more I'm pulling away from money, the more I'm pulling away from this world, the more I'm seeing this world destruct itself and eat itself, especially here in America. And then I go to my job every day and people are just so... like they can't put 2 and 2 together, and I cannot move at this slow pace of this work to get a job to get there. I'm out this country. We need to have our mindsets and our livelihoods and our faith built upon God. If you're willing to accept and not think, learn, do, work past what America is feeding you, vile, trash, pollution, and violence, if you're okay with censoring your heart, spirit, and mind to be okay with living here, then you shouldn't have a problem running a rat race for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. You shouldn't have a problem. You should enjoy this shit. But for those who tune into this podcast as a North Star, I'm here for you. I see you. And not only are you capable of putting the tools together right now, tools, I mean 401k, life insurance, Roth IRA, high yield savings account, portfolio, a business, a small business, an online business, a phone calling business, setting up your business banking account. Without a business in America, not only are you being worked as a business, but you're just as liable as a refugee who's coming from a whole nother country. They have programs, grants, opportunities set up for these immigrants to be successful. Now, the only people who are benefiting from our civil rights are everybody except us. So I'm not going to continue to accept this juxtaposition from America. I'm not going to continue to sit around and wait for my time to come. There's never in American history going to be a time where our time comes. There needs to be a point in history where you're going on, you'll take your ass home back to Africa, where there's opportunity, where there's love, where there's camaraderie, there's art. We're being deprived of the natural things that make life worth living. Art, having access, and children and kids and teenagers having access to performing arts, digital arts, visual arts, drama, speaking, music. These teenagers are walking around here as if they're living targets for white people to attack, kill, shoot. And if they're not going to do it that way, the system is going to eat our black boys by the music, the projection of materialistic, and I got to kill you, or I got to show you, or I got to, like, the perpetuation of attack on our spirit, soul, and mind. That is not okay. And I'm not going to sit in anybody's country any much longer and allow that. That's like letting a bully on you, and you just get comfortable with being bullied instead of exiting and finding a new school. Hello? Is anybody home these days? Like, is anybody home? Because y'all couldn't be at home with the stuff that y'all allowing. Y'all are still acting as if your money and the choices that you make this holiday, next year, without a goal, vision, purpose, or belief that you are your ancestors' wildest dream, you're forgetting that. I think you forgot because you got wrapped up in love. You got wrapped up in body. You got wrapped up in money. You got wrapped up in, basic living circumstances. You got wrapped up in friendships. None of that stuff deterred me from my faith in God. Do you not understand? We serve a God who parted the Red Sea. That alone is enough for me to have faith the size of a mustard seed that's going to move this mountain of degradation, poverty, and attack on our generations of children, my generations of children. And we're going to move that right on over to the next continent. Let's get into it. Stack your paper. For today's first episode, I wanted to talk about stacking your paper, where hustle meets healing. I get it now. When I say I get it now, I want y'all to understand, like, say somebody is throwing loose ones at you. You ever been in those machines where they, like, you standing in there, you just trying to catch the money and everything like that, right? And all you're doing is, like, holding your hands out, trying to grab the money from every side so that you win and that you don't leave empty-handed, right? And so when I think about me getting it now and the Sweet Millionaire formula of getting it, what I mean is you have to set up a Acorns account. You have to set up a high yield savings account. You shouldn't just have one checking and one bank and one system. Open up them all. Open up your funds to have them all. When I thought about the other day, the fact that I was dependent on one credit union to be my end all be all, I just realized, like, there are 6 other credit unions. So the same opportunity that they provided me when they gave me $50,000, there's a plethora of other credit unions. And I know you're thinking, like, oh, well, my money can't stretch from here to here to here to here to here. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Your money can stretch as far as you want it to stretch. Your money can bend as much as you want to crumble it. But this one-track mind that y'all have in America is scaring the fuck out of me. This one-track spirit is scaring the fuck out of me. And for it to scare me, it has to be causing people to suffer in their minds. I'm not scared about anything because I know where I'm going in the next couple of years. I know where I'm building my wealth up to, and I know that I'm going to ready to buy me a $150,000 apartment and a condo in Africa. So when I think about me opening up my business, having 2 and 3 businesses running, this year my mindset is such in a gear shift to whereas I'm in drive. Like I'm in full mode drive because my assets and the things that I've acquired over the last 10 years are allowing me and equipping me to have this resilience and optimism about my future that is past what I could really believe for. My spirit is already thriving in the thoughts of this new wealth in Africa. But I feel like, wouldn't you connect the dots between earn your leisure, between the great, okay, let me just slow down a little bit. If y'all can't tell, I'm on fire about your money being in financial institutions that are going to drive you to accumulate more money, because it's not the money, it's the knowledge and execution with the money that builds wealth. When you think about an apartment complex in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and you see the property is going for $78,000, right? Yeah, I could easily go purchase that property for $78,000 and rent it out, have, a tenant living in it, whatever the case. But it's just not that simple. It's an investment property, and you have to still pay taxes until somebody is living in there. So you got to be mindful of when these gurus are telling you to do this. That same $78,000 can go into your life insurance policy or can go into your portfolio and can generate you a 10% return in the next year, versus you putting yourself in predicaments where you don't have the whole truth. You cannot lead somebody to the promised land if you don't know what your promised land is. Now, this is not, well, this Sweet Millionaire formula, and I want y'all to learn the formula. But the doors and the keys should be jangling, like in your mind, in your opportunities, in your mindset. You should be broadening your perspective on who you are and see some opportunities that are beyond this world. Y'all, we have one life. There's not a possible way that they have us set up from. Let me just put this in predicament because it's really pissing me off. But the blatant plan in our face is crazy. Black boys have a life expectancy of less than 25, being able to make it to the age of 25, where they're going to be jail, shot, or dead, whatever the case. I'm just saying it from my perspective. This is not everybody's perspective. The reason this podcast is what it is because I'm feeling in a void that caused me to lose my family, my brother, my baby father, all to a system that has us set up without these tools of financial literacy. So you're hearing passion, you're hearing purpose, you're hearing me filling voids that have been in my own life. Nobody told me about building no generational wealth. And had I not taken this seriously, I wouldn't have, the $15,000, $20,000 sitting in my Roth 401k. I wouldn't be pulling in this desperate time. I wouldn't be able to pull $2,000 to invest into my business next year from my Roth 401k because my job is matching me 5%. The things that I'm telling you I'm living. Navy Federal gave me $50,000. I started a business. It failed. I didn't know what I was doing. I spent 2 years getting it back, understanding it, still going, still putting these episodes out because I'm not a quitter. I like to see things all the way through. This podcast didn't come because it was a wham. I actually was showing other students how to build generational wealth and create second streams of income, and it just so happened that I could monetize this platform. And so here we are doing the research, doing the work, and each and every week I make sure to pour into you as if I want somebody to pour into me, because the difference between doing better and being better is the knowledge. But the difference between having more and building wealth is the execution on the knowledge that you have. This week on Spill the Wealth, we have the creator, founder of The Honey Pot. Black women create companies, and it was a company that was built from that soul. It sticks, baby. It sticks. I don't know if y'all have ever had anything that was sent from you by God that was in your soul, and then when you find it in your soul, you have to bring it out because it's like you're not going to be well until it comes out. That's how I feel about Hustle Meets Healing. I feel like you're birthing soul businesses that were sent as a calling by God from the inside. So when you think you see somebody online, oh, they sell lip gloss, oh, they sell hair products, oh, they sell clips, oh, they sell sponges. Don't have no problem with them selling any of that. Do your thing, make your business, make your money. The issue that I have is that you don't understand that you're supposed to take that small business and turn it into a C Corp. That C Corp is then supposed to generate you shares in your company. Those shares are supposed to be able to spend other people's money to make, you're using other people's money to do business. You don't do business to make money. No, you use money to do business, because business is not going to stop. Business is how you keep building it and building the network and growing the network. Business, not money. When you spend other people's money, you're going to go to business. Right? And so you're stopping at an LLC when you should be stopping once you get to a $10 million valuation, $20 million valuation, $100 million valuation. Each round goes higher and higher. And not that you have to, but when you're building a brand that's from your soul, like the Honey Pot, which is authentic wellness. She turned her brand into a cultural favorite. The women would not leave her alone about these products that work hard. She had a issue with BV, as all of us do. As women, that BV is so vicious, like, wow. But she created plant-based feminine hygiene products that were healthy alternatives for feminine care that were free or carcinogens. Can you believe this shit? Everywhere that you turn in this fucking rooted ass America, they have something set up for you to get cancer. It annoys the fuck out of me. It annoys the fuck out of me that each and every turn that you make in this bitch is something derived at your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, your skin. Like the aluminum and deodorant. What? Secret, do better. Johnson & Johnson, y'all giving people cancer. I'm not ignorant. Y'all better step off that ignorant train. Y'all better keep learning. And I hope that y'all are learning. But y'all need to keep learning. Keep reading. Keep studying. Keep following. Keep being inspired. Read another great podcast you can listen to is called Therapy for Black Girls. Definitely listen to that podcast in the beginning of my career. Because, I mean my podcast career. Because I was trying to pour, but my cup was empty. And when I spent a few weeks with the Black Girl Therapy, I started to fill up my cup and became a little bit more resilient in my mind. And so I can't get off how hustle meets healing and creating a business from the soul and the inside out is something that you are dedicated to when you have a relationship with God. Because when you have a relationship with God, He'll reveal things to you, but they're not like seen. You have to believe them in your soul. You have to search them out, and you have to complain and cry, and you have to seek them. Seek ye, ask. Seek ye first the kingdom of righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. If you're not seeking the kingdom first, you're just getting all what the world has for you. But God says, if you seek me first, I'll add these things to you. Press down, shake it together, and run it over. Woo! That's the type of wealth I want. But Bia was determined. She was not motivated by money. So when they offered her a $450 million to leave her company, that wasn't going to do it for her because she was never in it for the money. And I believe that when you show that type of, resilience, then it's like, So last year, the Compass Diverse acquired a majority stake in the feminine care company, the Honey Pot, for $380 million. The Honey Pot's irreverent marketing spoke to an audience who didn't see themselves in the legacy brands. You know, the ones still advertising menstrual pads using the blue liquid. It's pretty impressive price tag, especially during a down market for startups to exist. It turns out that $380 million offer wasn't even the highest bid. As co-founder and CEO Beatrice Dixon tells it, she walked away from $450 million. Why? I would have been selling my soul, she says. For most entrepreneurs, but especially for Dixon, the startup journey has been personal. The idea of Honey Pot came to her in a dream in 2014. Woo! Y'all don't know nothing about them dreams. Them dreams that be revealing them things to you, man. Different type of level of connection to God. I don't care what you say. 2 years later, her first product was on shelves at Target, a move that changed her company's trajectory. But Dixon points out that it isn't a DEI success story. We got into Target the old-fashioned way, she says, and she has a lot to say about their retailers' recent decision to roll back its minority initiatives. Here, Dixon talks about pitching investors on feminine hygiene, the Honey Pot's big acquisition, and the surprising thing she did with some of that cash. So I'm going to read some of the questions that she interviewed on. This is the spill the wealth. Let's get into it. So Mickey Rapkin asks, the Honey Pot is a feminine care product company with one or more surprising origin stories. You were struggling with bacterial vaginosis when a visitor came to you in a dream with a solution. Would you tell us about that night? Beatrice Dixon. It was the morning, actually. That visitor was my grandmother who passed away when my mom was a child. I had been dealing with vaginosis for almost a year. It would go, come back every single month. I basically lived on antibiotics, which nobody should. I was going to Google for remedies. I was going to Google for remedies for bacterial vaginosis. And to this day, not one white woman, not one white doctor, because y'all know that's all I've had. I've had maybe 2 or 3 black doctors over the last 10 years. And not that they told me anything different. I'm just saying access to doctors with our skin color. 3 over the last maybe 10 years, maybe 4. But not one white woman has pointed me in the direction of healing, holistic healing, or anything like that. They prescribe the antibiotics. You have any questions? Oh, okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. And they walk out the room. It's no type of opportunity for healing. It's very cold in those rooms. It's very lonely in those rooms. And it's very isolating because it's like I have so much to reveal about what this is doing to my body, how it's making me feel as a woman. And then you not feeling like you have a way out of it. Bacterial vaginosis, I'm sorry, that needs to be studied and that needs to be a one-time cure because you shouldn't be living on antibiotics. And for this woman to derive a product from her spirit, you wouldn't understand that, man. You would. Okay. So Beatrice derived the product from her soul. She was visited by her grandmother. Make it plain, preacher. And so she said, yeah, you shouldn't live on antibiotics. And she said, yeah, take my word for it for sure. She came that morning in a dream and she told me that she'd been walking with me and seeing me struggle and she knew what to do. The funny thing is, a lot of remedies that I was doing individually, I needed to put all of them together to make myself a potion. I worked at God, this lady worked at Whole Foods. Okay? Let's talk about the significance of the things that's from your past being used over the course of time to stir up, to conjure up your purpose. If you never worked at I would have never worked at Whole Foods. This stuff don't mean products like this. I go shopping for them and it's a treat and go shopping for them. But this lady worked at Whole Foods. She had access to this stuff. So I worked at Whole Foods. I bought all the stuff. I didn't know what it was going to be. It ended up being a wash. I started using it and within days the odor went away. Then days after the discharge went away. It was a miracle. So yeah. Dixon said, anytime somebody had a vaginal issue, my team would send them to me. I would help them with the supplements, the suppositories. Then I would walk to the register and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to walk to your car and help you with your groceries. I would say, I have this product. It worked for me. I don't want you to buy it. All I want you to try it. It was like the hood clinical trial. And she went undercover, not necessarily, but you know how we do to get the word out. And he asked her, I don't know any consumer product store that doesn't start with a trunk of a car playing a part. Beatrice says, so much of the packaging and marketing in feminine care had been clinical. I don't have a vagina, but I'm pretty sure menstrual blood isn't blue. It's not. Rapkin, these legacy brands were struggling to connect with Gen Z customers. But with Honey Pot, you took a really irreverent approach. What were the legacy brands missing? Dixon says, I think they were lacking in humanity, to be honest. I think when you treat people like people, you have real conversations. You call body parts what they are, right? up until vaginal wellness, or others call femi, had been very much covering odor. Menstrual had been very much focused on just collecting blood. It wasn't necessarily focused on the materials that the vulva was going to sit on, or the tampon that was going inside was made of. Ryan asks, you and I came in really changing the conversation. You were serving your core customers across all their needs versus trying to sell a product. Yeah. And Dixon said, yeah. And that customer will trust you because if you can wash their counter, or in our instance, we can wash their vagina, why can't we protect it with a pad, you know? Absolutely, Ryan says. Beatrice says, Honey Pot eventually gets into Target, which was a big turning point. But many entrepreneurs don't realize how hard it is to stay on the shelf and market those products at scale. Will you talk to us through that challenge? Dixon says, getting to Target, or any retailer for that matter, is the easy part, you know? It's really staying there that's the hardest part. Man, we got into Target. Whew, that was rough. First of all, none of us had any clue about what operations meant. We had no idea about logistics, supply, or 3PLs. So he says, an ERP system? What do you mean we were going to get fined if the truck is 10 minutes late? What do you mean you're going to charge me if you discontinue me? It's like breaking up with somebody and saying, I'm going to give you a bill at the end of it. Dixon laughing. You know, 90 days later, when you finally get paid, you made $1 million, but really you walked away with like 100,000 or something, some wild number like that. It's crazy. Me and my co-founder raised $700,000, which y'all know ain't nothing. Half of that went to branding. Half of that brought products, maybe a little more than half. We were literally just raising money to pay bills. Nobody wants to be living in that place. It was just really hard time. I didn't quit my job until maybe 6 or 7 months into us being in Target. So she goes on, which is a great interview, and I'll leave the link to this interview in the subscription on the podcast. But when you really think about the layers that it takes to get from a dream into Target, just like for me, I was writing a book when my daughter was pregnant because I was like, you know, nobody's going to tell the story of how she got here better than me. And what way to do it besides build generational wealth and write a book? But boy, from typing that first letter into losing my book through emails, finding it again, losing it again, editing it. But this first book was everything to me because I had to figure out, was it real? It's something in my soul that's down here that's calling me. And you got to go pick it up because you got to go find out in your spirit and soul, where is that call coming from? Type in 3 millionaire moves. This week we're highlighting my shero, the one who just does it for me. She is she is like the living proof of success, dreams, and consistency pays off. This is Keke Palmer we're talking about, the owner of KeyTV Productions and Entertainment, the child star who has been our very first VP, the Akila Nabi spelling. She's affecting generations now because now that I'm older, my daughter, when she watches Akila Nabi, baby, she has to watch Akila Nabi at least 7 to 10 times. I don't know what that is, but Keke Palmer is a powerhouse production woman. I don't know how else to categorize this woman. She has been, and for them to whoa. Let's talk about her because I didn't like what I saw the other day. I'm not gonna even get into that. But what I like about Keke Palmer is that she grew up in Illinois. She was raised in the church, and both her parents poured into her career early on in her life as she auditioned for The Lion King at the age of 9. Keke Palmer has worked for nearly 15 to 20 years straight. It's 2025. I remember her in 2024 when she was like, I'm gonna tell my auntie, and back in business at barbershop too. I remember Akila Nabi from 2006 when she was in that movie. I remember pretty much growing up with Keke Palmer. Her and the Medea's Family Reunion. That's where I really got to dive into her as a character, as a person. Then she went on to Nickelodeon and as True Jackson VP, where she was earning $20,000 per episode. She went on to have her own line at Walmart, True Jackson VP. She also played a role in Long Shots in 2011. So basically, Keke Palmer has been the icon image of Black woman entrepreneurship and productivity in Hollywood is what we would deem that. We would deem her being productive and successful in the Hollywood light, and not because she's rich, but because she has put her footprint, her voice, her authenticity. She has shown up. She has shifted the culture. And to me, Keke Palmer, there's no shortage of genius. She received an NAACP Image Award for her voiceover work. She continues to raise the bar and transform the context in which we view production and media. But she also holds herself and her community, the Black community, she holds us to a standard, and she doesn't waver from that standard no matter what room she is. And I love that she has this authenticity about her that doesn't have to be shied away from. And when you are Black, young, powerful, and things like that, it seems like you have this cap that's kind of put on you. But Keke Palmer has been in over 60 movies, shows. She's hosted the Good Morning America. She's been Bubble Guppies. She has been on Single Ladies. She has been a host. She's been on Family Guy, Key and Peele, Degrassi, anything that you could pretty much think of when it comes to TV and television. She's hosted, and she has her own Emmy for the Password game show that she hosts as well with Jimmy Fallon. And I believe that for her, she also just did a movie with Jordan Peele called Nope. And okay. So her net worth is not openly addressed. But her net worth, like I said, is they have it sitting at $7.5 million. And I want to know how a woman who's so accomplished is not worth over $100 million, who is not a billionaire by now. If she's Jake Paul, who these men don't do anything. They lack talent. They're using Black men. Jake Paul used that fight with Mike Tyson as a way to build his skin in the game. Because he went after Mike Tyson first. Like, that was a way for him to get his skin in the game. And now you're disrespecting world champions who have fought their way. The audacity for white people to come in and still rebrand, rip it and work it and twerk it and all these things until it's all wrapped up around them is psychotic. But Miss Keke Palmer has shown grace and persistence, and with her production company being the legacy of her brand, I feel like she's showing these elevations and millionaire moves that sometimes it costs you because you didn't have financial literacy, which we give you the formula here at Sweet Millionaire Formula. Like, comment, subscribe to the podcast. Please, if you're listening to this episode, like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. We need that for monetization. And we also need that for we can know where to put our ads and things of that nature. But what she's built for herself and how she's able to evolve over each and every part of her life, it shows that, but she's doing it on a high level with a lot of support. Some women are doing it on a low level with no support. One of those women happened to be me. And it's not that I don't have any support. It's just the fact that my life has transitioned so much and I'm going to such a trajectory that if I have people around me who are not willing to pull their weight or do the work, they can't come. And I understand that about my vision. So we're here with it now. Enjoy getting y'all to today's information. I know I sound a little nasally. It's because I am nasally. But like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. Until next time, stack it, save it. Peace out.